This game is far from over, but at half-time, City do lead by 1-0. Well, let's go back to the studio, where we can join Natalie with Keith Curl and Steve Howie.
Welcome back to Match Day Live. So City lead 1-0 at the break, courtesy of another Phil Foden goal. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm joined by Steve Howie and by Keith Curl. Keith, what did you make of that first 45?
A lot of pleasing things in it. I've been trying to work out where John Stones is playing because he's popping up everywhere. But if you have a look at, because they dominate possession of the ball, and then they have a 3-6-1, and the rotation of the six. That includes Stone stepping in as well. So, and the rotation, phenomenal. But they've also then got they've always see a long pass as well, because there've been a couple of times when they said, right, well, where's the threat going to come from? Where's the press going to come from? And they have a couple of passes, and then they go long and they try and isolate Haaland 1v1. I think the twice they've done it, unfortunately, he's gone onto his right foot. One missed a target, and one he couldn't get his shot off. And you're thinking that if that goes the other side on his left foot, you fancy another goal for Haaland.
I'd love to see John Stones' heat map after this game. Absolutely, it feels like it's everywhere. They tend to call it a hybrid role. These days. Steve, would you agree with Keith? Where is he? Where is John Stones? How would you describe John Stones in that first half?
All over, pretty much. But I think there was one point he was the furthest man up. I think he'd been played in, and I think that's where he, he gets the free kick from. But he's, I don't really think I've seen him in defence. But he's always there to help out. He's really good at receiving the ball with his back to play, turning, just putting little balls into midfield. I think he's been exceptional in the first half. But I think City themselves, for me, it's been comfortable. But it's been a weird one because they still pose a threat. You've seen the lad, the full-back, he has a long-range shot. You can see the movement. Obviously, the goalkeeper, Edison, has to make a decent save from there. There's a little chance at the end there as well with Christie. So at 1-0, whilst it's comfortable, it's not comfortable. I know that might sound a little bit weird, but that's the way it is. And I think they just get half a chance, they could nick a goal. So for me, the next goal, if City gets the next goal, then it's a lot more comfortable. They've getting in some good areas, but it's just possibly the final ball.
Yeah, I think completely agree. I mean, it took us 23 minutes to get the goal, but prior to that, Bournemouth, and after that as well, very much in the game, very much working hard, Keith.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're working from their shape. I think they've been a little bit braver than what they were the home game here. They're saying, well, yeah, we are going to commit 4 or 5 people forward to get a press on the ball, but also then getting back behind the ball, and they know they've got pace on the counter-attack as well, as and when the ball sticks on the first time. And like Stevie says, then they do still look a threat when they get in and around the City box, but I can see more goals coming. The goal from Haaland, the assist from Haaland for the goal, excellent. Me and Steve are sat there saying, and you're thinking, like, defensively wise, you're thinking you don't try and get in front of Haaland there, not in the box, because he's strong enough to hold you, not only roll you, but keep you there as well, so you can't get back.
The way, so yeah, it's 23 minutes, we've gone to the City goal. Before we talk about the Phil Foden finish, yes, the Erling Haaland assist in that. He's so strong, Steve, the way that he kind of shrugs off the player, gets the shot off as well. He's so impressive, especially when he's inside the box.
Well, physically, he would be a lot stronger than a lot of defenders. The defender makes his mind up, though. The defender tries to pinch in front of him. We'll both tell you, as a defender, you can't afford to take that chance, even though you think you might be able to get it. You've just got to stand your ground. Obviously, he tries to get in front of Erling Haaland. He can see him. He turns his body. There's no way the defender's getting back. He hits it's a decent strike, but it's into the floor, which makes it difficult for the goalkeeper. And the only thing the goalkeeper can do is just parry it out. And of course, Phil Foden, who's been in scintillating form, he's Jack you on the spot type thing. He just sticks to the way, no problem at all. But yeah, defensively, the manager will be disappointed with that. The player will be disappointed with that. But it's a fantastic movement from Haaland initially, because if you look to see where he was, he can see his teammates got the ball and he makes that run. And obviously he's found with a great pass and he does the rest.
And Phil Foden, who continues to I think it's starting to be fair to say that he's in the form of his life at the minute. It feels like, everything he touches is turned to gold. But in this one, he's in the right position. He's off the ball. He's quick when the Haaland shot is saved. So he does really well in this, even though it looks simple, Steve.
Yeah, well, he anticipates it. I mean, obviously, he's took a chance, but he's thinking, from his mind, he's thinking, if he has a shot in the goalkeeper prize, that I'm there and I'm first to be there. So he reads that very, very well. But it's not surprising. I mean, I think we'd said before the programme, if there's one player Man City at this particular moment you can't do without, we said Phil Foden. I mean, I agree with Keith as well. I think Silva's absolutely brilliant, but yeah, he's in great form. The City players are getting themselves in really good positions, but as I said, it's just the manager will be a little bit frustrated because it's just that final ball. I think they definitely need that second goal.
Yeah, and the chances, there was other chances in the first half as well. Phil had other chances as well, but Bournemouth did do well. We've got to give them a lot of credit in that first half. They had opportunities and they were pushing Edison even until just before the first half came to the end, Keith.
Yeah, like Steve said, at 1-0, they're still in the game, and they know that. I think Bournemouth had the first corner in the game as well. And just touching back to the City goal, like great coaching points for Haaland. He's at a slight angle, but shooting across the goal. And then the anticipation of Phil Foden to be on the move, not watching to see where the strike goes and then try and move. As Haaland's striking it, he's on the move, ready for that parry. Great coaching points, and they are instinctive things that happen.
It feels like City have been very much in control throughout the game, though. In terms of the second half, going into the second half, Keith, do you want to see anything different, or is it more of the same and patience for City as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think because of their rotation and the movement that they have because of that rotation, they're not just rotating and being on the move for the sake of it. They're doing it for a purpose and a plan, and they're trying to create that space for somebody to come into and then go and play. And then you find very quickly they're getting the ball wide, and whoever might be the wide person, like Nunes has been out there a couple of times, Kovacic has been out there. So they've got that rotation, but they're trying to get the ball in there, out, and then when they come in off the line, then it's one of those, you've got Bournemouth players facing their own goal, so they can't mark the man. They can only look at the ball, and then it's finding that final pass in the final third. If they get that final pass right, you can see more goals, definitely.
And of course, we know what a strong bench we've got today. Yeah, the strongest bench you could pretty much have. Yeah, Alvarez on the bench, Grealish, Doku, and of course Kevin on the bench. Given the fact that we've got an FA Cup game on Tuesday night, it'll be a difficult FA Cup game away at Luton on Tuesday night, ahead of the derby on Sunday, ahead of the Champions League second leg, ahead of the Liverpool game. What do you think is going to happen in the second half in terms of the substitutes? At what point do you think any might get used, or do you think it's a case of especially sort of Kevin giving him a rest?
I don't think the manager will use them unless he has to use them. I think if he's going to kind of give him a rest, he'll give him a rest. I mean, I could be completely wrong. You know yourself, when we do this, you speak about the selection of Pep, we kind of never get it right. But for me, it's the perfect game for City, really, because I'm surprised. It's actually quite an open game. I thought Bournemouth would be a lot more kind of compact and defensive-wise, but they're not. But City are getting in those positions. It is just a case of just that final ball in the final area. I think Kovacic has been excellent in the first half. A couple of times he's got the ball and he's drove through the Bournemouth players, and he's broke that kind of line. And as I said, it's just that final pass. But when it comes to substitutions, I don't know. I think, you know, the management might bring on something like Doku, probably. I think the rest of them, he'll try and keep them nice and fresh.
Apologise, I just realised David has sent us a WhatsApp message, is pretty much what I've just asked you. So sorry, David, let me give you your credit, though. David has sent us a WhatsApp message. It says, who does Pep turn to on his bench? So we'll ask that to Keith. Keith, David would like to know, who do you think Pep should turn to on the bench?
I think goals change games. Goals change the mentality as well. I don't think it changed any of the defence. I think that he'll maintain that. If they get another goal, it might be a case of then they feel comfortable in the game. They might give Kevin 10, 15 minutes. They might give Doku 10, 15 minutes if they think the game is comfortable. If not, I can see them being. If it stays at 1-0 for a large period of time, I don't think Pep will be too anxious to make changes.
And another good question on WhatsApp. Thank you, as always, for sending in your WhatsApp questions. James says, what do the panel think about John Stones, who is able to adapt to playing in different positions each week? How would you both feel about learning to play a different position?
I mean, I started my career as a right winger. And I've played right wing, left wing, centre forward. I've played holding midfield. I've played everywhere across the back. So I've got a good understanding of positional play.
Have you ever been in net?
Have I been? No, goalkeeper. I criticise goalkeepers far too much.
David James will not like to hear that. We know he's an avid watcher. How would you feel?
Well, I was a midfield player when I first started off, and then I got moved to the centre forward, and then obviously completely different to the centre half. So yeah, I mean, I think it's always good. I'm sure there was a manager, foreign manager in Spain or something. I think was trying to get his players to play in every position in the games that were played, so they've got an understanding when they're not in that position what the other player's going through, and how to help them when they haven't got the ball and stuff like that. But I mean, he's done it. I mean, world class. As I said, we watched him in the Champions League final. I mean, it's probably the best performance I've seen from a player. I mean, we talked about Doku at the start of the programme, but his performance in that game was just so good. But he's like a Rolls Royce. He's just so silky smooth.
So happy to have him back fit at this point in the season. So happy. Thank you very much for your WhatsApp questions. You're welcome to try and get a few more in, and I'll ask them at full time as well. We want to do quickly, before the second half starts, the third of our mystery blue clues for today. So before the game, you had your first two clues. They were this player featured for both City and Bournemouth, and this defender captained City from 2003. If you've not got it yet, Steve Howie hasn't. This player formed a formidable partnership alongside Richard Dunn. You got it now, gents?
Well, I only had it because you told me.
Well, I told you what my guess was.
Yeah.
I like to play along.
Yeah.
Do you agree with my guess without saying it?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes sense.
Was he your captain at one point?
No, I was when I was there. Obviously, there was Alfie was captain, then Ali Benabi, and then myself, and then I left, and then obviously Dusty came in and captained the team.
Okay, thank you. Have you just given it away?
Yeah.
Is that his nickname?
Oh, yeah, but I haven't given it away. You might know that one.
I did not know that was his nickname. So if you don't know that was his nickname, then he has not given it away.
Yeah.
But thank you. You can send in if you think you know. Send in indeed. Did you know that was his nickname? Let us know. So a few minutes away now from the second half commentary with Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison, available on the Manchester City app as always. Quick final thought, Steve. What do you want to see in the second half from City?
Just find a ball, be a bit more clinical. I think it would definitely help them if they get that second goal. It kind of kills the game off a little bit. But as Keith said, which is absolutely spot on, at 1-0, they're still in the game.
Keith?
I think we're on track for the 3-0. I'm comfortable.
I love that. Keith is just settled on his 3-0. Are you sticking with... I'll give you a chance if you want.
Do you know what? I'm looking at them. I'm gonna have to stick with 3-1, but I think it will be 3-0.
Okay. Thank you very much. There we go. The players are back out in the tunnel there. We can still see there's Alvarez and there's Rico still there. So no changes that we see. Of course, Alistair Mann will let you know if there is any straight away. So full commentary on the City app with Alistair Mann and with Andy Morrison. Thank you very much for joining us again for Matchday Live. We will be back at full time. Hopefully, as it stands, we'll be looking to be 1 point behind Liverpool at the top of the league. So we'll see you in 45 minutes.
Thank Natalie. We've had no information that City have made any changes at half-time, so we think it's still the same 11. And indeed, they are about to make their way out onto the field.